I'm Maddie, and welcome to AHS 20 Questions. I'm sure, as most of you know, our English department hosted our annual Poetry Out Loud competition, and today I have brought the esteemed guest, Sean the Poet, with us, the winner of Poetry Out Loud. I'm going to have a few questions for you today, Sean. Are you ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
What grade are you in?
I am a junior, class of 2023.
I am a senior, class of 22. And are you involved in any extracurriculars?
Yeah, I do sports. I'm on the swim team and the football team, and I'm also in the choir.
Choir. And what kind of hobbies interest you outside of school?
I play a couple instruments, mostly guitar.
Guitar? And band never interests you?
Not particularly.
Yeah, more of a singer?
Yeah.
And what inspires you?
Other people, mostly. Seeing how people think and feel.
I feel this. I feel similarly. And would you consider yourself an artistic person?
Yeah, definitely. I try and put out things into the world that I'm proud of.
And what are your thoughts on poetry?
I didn't always used to be into it, but as I've read more books, it's just kind of like an extension of literature. I've read more poems too.
Definitely. I've gotten into reading more myself as of last year. And I'm aware that you not only competed in this year's Poetry Out Loud competition, but won it. So have you participated in the previous Poetry Out Loud?
Yeah, in freshman year, I was in the Poetry Out Loud contest too.
How'd you do?
I made it to the second round, but I think I was either third or fourth runner-up.
Oh, okay. Well, close enough, right? And how are the contestants for Poetry Out Loud chosen? Walk us through that process.
It starts in the classroom. You do a competition in the classroom, and the winner of the class goes to the school competition.
And it depends on the English teacher, right? Because I remember I did not I was never had to memorize a poem.
So, yeah, some English teachers participate in it, some don't.
Yeah.
For my English teacher, Mr. Rude, what he decided was basically whoever wanted to do it, did it, and I was the only one who wanted to do it, so I went straight to the school competition.
Well, that's one way to get in.
Yeah.
And how do you think you've improved from your previous years with memorizing your poems and performing them?
I definitely have better techniques and tactics when it comes to memorizing poems. Repeating it back to myself, alone just in my room, just repeating it back to myself, and also having a person correct me in case I make a mistake is a lot better than how I did it freshman year.
Yeah, I'm sure. How did you do it to freshman year?
Freshman year, I just kind of wung it, to be honest. I read it to myself only a couple times, mostly in my head. I think doing it out loud is really beneficial.
Yeah, so that would be like a tip to someone who's hoping to win Poetry Out Loud. Definitely rehearsing it out loud, I think, is the best way to go. And how did you feel once you walked on stage? Were you nervous, confident?
I was definitely nervous at first. There were a lot more people there than I expected. But once I kind of sat in my chair and looked out of the crowd, I got comfortable pretty quickly.
Yeah. And what made you choose the poems you did to recite?
The first poem I did, Flaxman by Margaret Fuller, is about art versus science, which are two things that I'm really interested in. I feel like I'm both an artistic person and a scientific person. So, the dichotomy there was interesting to me. And then the second poem, Albatross, is actually about being a housewife.
Oh.
But I just thought that the subject matter was really, really emotional, and I thought it was a good second poem.
Wow, yeah. And we actually have a video of that, so let's take a first look at your poem.
Flaxman by Margaret Fuller. We deemed the secret lost, the spirit gone, which spake in Greek simplicity of thought, and in the forms of gods and heroes wrought, eternal beauty from the sculptured stone, a higher charm than modern culture won, with all the wealth of metaphysic lore, gifted to analyze, dissect, explore. A many-colored light flows from one sun, art, 'neath its beams, a motley thread has spun. The prism modifies the perfect day, but thou hast known such mediums to shun, and cast once more on life a pure white ray. Absorbed in the creations of thy mind, forgetting daily self, my truest self I find.
And if you could change anything about your performance, what would it be?
I think I generally had good stage presence. I think the rhythm of some of the words got got a little bit chopped up.
Right.
Specifically, like at medium, the word medium, I hesitated a little bit, which I don't love, but
Well, it sounds amazing.
thank you.
And do you write poetry yourself or just appreciate reading it?
I write poetry occasionally. It's just for myself. I don't really plan on like putting anything out,
Right.
but occasionally, yeah, just to get words on paper.
Definitely. I've tried, but just definitely it's not good. And how did you feel when you won?
Honestly, I was a little bit surprised because Alyssa Drum and Sarah O'Leary, they were both very good.
Yeah.
And honestly, I thought they were going to beat me. But so yeah, I was really happy. I was surprised and I was happy.
I thought they're gonna beat you too. They're my friends.
Yeah.
I was rooting for them, but
That's fair.
you did a great job, definitely.
Thank
And
you.
we have footage of that very moment, so let's take a look.
And the winner of the 2022 Poetry Out Loud contest at Agawam High School, Sean Colton.
And why do you think it's important to have poetry out loud?
It's definitely, kids don't normally get into poetry. I think it's a lot like how in the elementary schools they force you to read books.
Yeah.
In many ways, having a competition for poetry is a way to get kids into it. Kids are naturally going to want to compete with their classmates. So putting poetry into that format is definitely a great way to get kids interested.
Yeah, that's a really great point. What are your plans after high school?
After high school, I'm going to go to four-year college. I'm currently thinking mostly about biology and psychology, so a mixture of those two.
Definitely. And why is art important to you?
It's just the best way to express yourself. I mean, that's what art is. It's the expression of self, and I think there's no better way to relax and also connect with yourself is by putting things out there, putting out art.
Exactly how I feel. And lastly, what did you take away from this experience, from the Poetry Out Loud experience?
At the school level, I took away that when I put work into things like memorizing a poem, I can always do well. In freshman year, I didn't necessarily put as much work into memorizing the poems. This year, I came back and I was like, I want to win. So I put more effort into it, and it worked out. The other thing that I learned is that other people are just as capable. I mean, there were great people at the school level, and then when I went to the semifinals, it was virtual. I listened to some fantastic recitations. So
Yeah.
there's always bigger fish.
Right. And that concludes our episode of AHS 20 Questions. Thank you for joining us, and tune in for the next episode. Bye.